I have been dialing my Quest 2 for the past 5 years now, and this video over here should tell you the details as to why. But now, Gaben the Great has given us an announcement for a new VR headset that ticks all of the boxes for me, except the price. Based on rumors at least. What boxes, what ticks, what price. If you have thought about upgrading to the Steam frame anytime soon, then you should probably invest these next few minutes with me here. And do not skip ahead. You hear me? I'm watching you, John. Just as I've been watching the announcement like a week after I launched my Quest 2 video, arguing that there is no reason to get anything else than it. So tell me why I want to go in depth again. Alright, let's get serious here. What's up with the Steam frame and why is it maybe worth the upgrade? Valve Deckard, or more like Steam frame, is a standalone VR headset with a streaming first mindset, running on SteamOS. On paper, basically the anti-Quest. And as of recently, the official Steam frame Steamworks documentation released as well. This confirms a lot that we already knew and gives us more insight into how it's going to be working. Let's run the checklist. It's a standalone headset that runs a VR version of SteamOS on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM and up to 1 TB of storage with a micro SD slot. You heard that right, a micro SD slot in the big 26. Anyways, for the optics, we got 2160 LCDs, which is alright if the price is right, and yes, pancake lenses. Finally, goodbye Fresnel lenses, you will not be missed. By the way, have you subscribed yet? For tracking, we got Inside Out, 4 front cameras and AR, no base stations, no lighthouses and even no cables, as a USB dongle will be included, more on that later. And then the controllers. Each one is basically half a gamepad. D-pad on the left, ABXI on the right, thumbsticks, triggers, bumpers, dual stage grip buttons, magnetic sticks to avoid stick drift, thank you, plus haptics and full finger detection. Yes, it seems like the cars are coming back, so you can play normal flat games and VR games with the same controllers without the need for an additional control. So far that's a pretty good modern VR headset, but that's not the only reason I'm quite interested in it. My main reason is this sentence from Valve. Streaming first standalone VR headset. The frame comes with Wi-Fi 7 in the headset, and as said, in the box you get a USB 6 GHz Wi-Fi 6E dongle for your PC. You plug that in into your desktop, creates a direct low latency 6 GHz link between your GPU and your face, no fighting with your router, and hopefully no more resetting the whole PCVR link after it failed for the 7th time. I really love that. I just hope the battery lasts a few hours though. Like, I do really like not having to worry about battery life while being tethered in, but wireless is just so convenient. On top of that, it has eye tracking and uses it for foveated streaming, not just rendering, but for streaming. So the PC sends more bitrate exactly where you're looking and less where you're not. And for the software side, SteamOS on ARM, Proton for Windows games, FEX to run x86 code on AR and Android-based runtime. So devs can ship APKs including Quest-style standalone titles. And Steam will start making games as Steam Frame certified, like it already does with the Steam Deck. So the short version, it runs native VR games, it runs PC games, it streams heavy VR games from your PC, and it's designed so you don't have to care what OS anything was built for. Ideally. And this is a point I do want to get to, because you do need to keep in mind that all of this has only been said by a few testers and Valve themselves. And although they are trustworthy, until we get the official launch and people actually get their hands on it, I would take all of this with a grain of salt. But still, let's talk about why I, a fairly happy Quest 2 user, now suddenly want to upgrade. First, image and lenses. On the Quest 2, 1832 by 1920 per eye. Fresnel lenses, tiny sweet spot, God rays, and if the headset slips 2mm, you're straight to hell. While on the Steam frame, 2160 by 2160 per eye, custom pancakes, wider sweet spot, less glare, thinner front and much better weight distribution. Second, performance. Quest 2 is running on an XR2 Gen 1. Amazing for its time and, to be fair, still very capable. See my Quest 2 video to go deep on that, but some modern titles have already started going beyond this chip's baseline. Steam Frame is running a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with 16 gigs of RAM, which is a huge jump in standalone power. Still mobile, not desktop, but nowhere closer to low-mid PC than, well, honestly this. But if you want PCVR anyways, honestly my main use case on the Quest, you have to deal with link cable, AirLink, virtual desktop, Wi-Fi weirdness, meta account, random compression artifacts, your router, your neighbor's microwave. I hate it here. On Steam Frame, PCVR is the main feature. Wired is pretty much direct, as there won't be any third party involved anymore, but with wireless also being so heavily focused on, oh, I so hope it delivers, because as a developer myself, this matters a lot. Because not only is it going to make development much easier, but that's also one less layer of what went wrong this time support messages. And then the last checkbox, modularity. Valve is publishing CAD files, and there's a PCIe plus MIPI expansion port on the headset for add-ons. From a use it everyday perspective, that's a huge jump up from my current Quest 2 headset, right? Although it's not confirmed yet, there's always a catch. Because of course there is. Let's calm down for a second and talk about why you shouldn't sell your Quest 2 just yet. First, the price. At the time of recording this, Valve has not told us the number. Officially, cheaper than Index, and $1,000 is the goal, and most estimates put it around $500 to $600 for the base model. But that is still speculation with a sprinkle of wishful thinking as well, not a promise. Second, if this does end up being around the 1K mark, we start talking about the Steam Frame as a premium headset, not a budget one. So now the display and pass-through trade-offs suddenly feel like much more of a problem. And monochrome pass-through cameras, not full color mixed reality as even the Quest 3S has at a sub $400 price mark. If you love mixed reality, you'll be disappointed. This is clearly aimed more at VR gaming than anything else, which is fine, but again, depends on the price. And lastly, you do need to keep in mind that this is the first gen standalone from Valve. Index was PC only, with base stations, and this is their first shot at ARM plus Linux plus Android plus Windows compatibility plus inside-out tracking plus all of that in one box. Valve has a good track record of fixing stuff post-launch, just look at the Steam Deck updates. But still, day one buyer means you're also day one beta tester. It's probably not the perfect headset that came from heaven that everyone makes it out to be, but it's very specifically a headset that tries to make PCVR as painless as possible and bring a similar energy than the Steam Deck has to its VR headset. Alright then, is it worth it for you to upgrade? Let's break this down. If you want to try out games like Beat Saber, Gorilla Tag, VR Chat and maybe some indie stuff, then you should just get a used Quest 2. Still to this day runs pretty much anything out there and there is just no beating to this value. The Steam Frame, even at its cheapest, will be at least like 5 Quest 2s. To put that into perspective, the money you're saving will easily get you with your Quest 2 a nice hefty serving of 500 chicken nuggets. Listen, I'm not doing the bit with the nuggets again. To set up that animation it's way too much work and it's simply just not what. Oh my god, not again. So, if trying out the waters is what you're doing, trust me, there is plenty time to overspend once you actually get into VR. If what you're after is a solid base for standalone games as well as mixed reality, then get the Quest 3, or even the 3S. At this point, in-game dev still the target ceiling for VR performance, as well as the ideal context for mixed reality. But if you are mainly interested in PCVR and you have the spare change for both the headset and the hardware, then the Steam Frame will be unbeatable. Clean PCVR lets you play your whole library in VR and will get you better tech overall than anything else there is right now on the market. And if you are a game dev that wants to get their hands on some VR, do yourself a favor and don't get a meta headset as your main driver. I hate Quest Link. Yeah, for this group of people, it makes sense to get this headset. And that's where I am. Well, minus the whole being able to afford it thing. Anyways, if you want to see the full breakdown on why the Quest 2 might actually be still worth it in 2026, then you can see the video right here. And when the Steam frame finally launches and I somehow manage to get one, then you'll see the full hands-on review right on this channel.